Yes, there. Good day, everybody. Can you hear me? As you just heard, I'm going to be talking about the links between Cornwall and our Celtic cousins. The Institute of Cornish Studies, of which I'm co-director, has recently launched an initiative called Kevrennow. Kevrennow is the Cornish word for links, and ultimately we want to look at links with all the various Celtic nations, but we thought there's a need for a focus, need for a look in particular at Cornwall and Wales. This actually reflects 2 years ago, the First Minister of Wales, Mark Drakeford, and the then leader, Linda Taylor of Cornwall Council, signed an agreement for Cornwall and Wales, for Cymru and Kernow to work together. So one thing that we're hoping to do is to actually put together and strengthen, put a bit more meat on this particular bones of this arrangement. So the Institute, myself, and the support of Dr. Kate Neal, some of you will know because of her work with the Federation of Old Cornwall Societies, are bringing together a range of organisations looking at business, notably people like Kim Conchie, the former CEO of Cornwall Chamber of Commerce, Mark Trevethan of Cornwall Council, Merv Davey, another person associated obviously with Old Cornwall, in regards to Lorenda, and also our very own Nev Meek, wherever he is. Where's Nev? He's over there on the left. Okay, and we held a symposium about a month or so ago, maybe less than that, at the Institute of Cornish Studies down at Penryn, to try to actually look at ways to actually build something. As Nev himself pointed out, if you're going to build an initiative, you need to actually do the mapping first of all, find out what other organisations exist, what are the parallels with, say, Old Cornwall societies in Wales, and to really strengthen that arrangement. And one thing that is coming out of this, I'm going to say a little bit about this initially, before going on to actually say one thing that we need is to get community participation. The project itself will be actually aiming to set up a research seminar series. We've established links with the universities of Aberystwyth, Cardiff and Swansea already, also trying to identify links with other Welsh organisations, cultural organisations, and also something else, a Cornish Welsh festival. Now we've got Lorenda, which brings together all the Celtic nations. We've also, of course, got Aberfest, based down at Falmouth, 1 year in Falmouth and then another year in Brittany. So we've got a Cornish Breton festival. So why not a Cornish Welsh festival? And that's one thing that we're doing from the 6th to the 8th of March, appropriately around about the same time as St Piran's Day and St David's Day in St Austell. We did a trial run this year on the 1st of March as part of the St Piran Day celebrations. Yes, I did say the 1st of March. They decided to hold it on the Saturday before St Piran. So we thought, make a virtue of necessity and try to develop a Cornish Welsh day. We're going for a Cornish Welsh weekend. And St Austell is an interesting place to do it. There's very strong links, particularly with the China clay industry. Lord Aberconway, a leading figure in the 20th century in the development of China clay. Trevisco Male Voice Choir winning the International Welsh Eisteddfod at Llangollen back in 1956. And the building next to this, if you go on to the next slide, please, that building there, anybody seen that iconic building opposite the White Hart? Built with Welsh bricks from North Wales, red bricks. So it's a symbolic event. So this year's event is going to, this coming year's event, should actually say 2026 actually, we are going to be developing it. This is what we did last year, comparative talks on history, music and storytelling. So it's going to be quite broad. Also music sessions with Cornish Welsh tunes. And we even also organised this year a service relating to St David and St Piran at Cymru Chapel. We're hoping to bring together for next year a Welsh male voice choir and a Cornish male voice choir and look at it in different ways. But the other thing is where you come in. Now, Cornwall has got links with Ireland, Brittany, Scotland, Isle of Man, but we thought it would be appropriate to look at Wales because those links have been quite strong certainly over this past 100 to 150 years, at a practical family level. Just to give you an anecdotal example, back in 1920, my aunt left Cornwall, my great aunt rather, left Cornwall and actually moved up to Newport in South Wales. Married a guy from South Wales, had 3 sons. Now, I've often thought it's a bit strange to suddenly go off to South Wales like that. But exploring the family history back into the 19th century, I've actually looked at some of the census data, and I've seen that some of the family, we would have one child born in Cornwall, the next child born in Wales, next child born in Wales, next child born in Cornwall. And it's part of a pattern, partly of Cornish families going up to Wales, particularly South Wales, but not just South Wales. Some obviously doing that short-term journey, and in her case, she decided to make it more permanent after the death of her husband, moving back to Cornwall. But there were countless other examples of people who have moved down to Cornwall or moved up to Wales. And that's one of the things that we want to do. We want to create a series of short films exploring those human stories of connections. I once went up to Aberystwyth, and there's a story that every station master in South Wales was a Cornishman. A year ago, I went up to Cardiff. I went into a Methodist chapel. Not surprisingly, there were again close connections. It's probably spoke to about 10% of the congregation, and that 10% all had Cornish ancestry. And like I say, it's not just limited to Cornish going up to Wales, but Welsh coming down to Cornwall. So if you've got any stories in your family history, any other examples of associations between Cornwall and Wales, get in contact, because it's going to be part of a programme that we're actually hoping to develop and working both with the University of Falmouth and also with a Welsh cultural initiative. We want to create a series of these short films based on those human documentaries to actually turn a project which is going to be operating at one level, economic links, also from an academic point of view, but at the same time, very firmly rooted in the community. I'll stop there. Thank you very much. Miraz. Yeah.